So, did I just tell him my name?
Yeah, could you tell us your name?
Oh, I'm Jeremy. Okay, well, I don't know. You wanted me telling you a story about my cousin. Should I say his name?
Well, my question is, do you want to stay anonymous?
Oh, I don't care. I didn't do anything wrong. He did. He did. He's the crazy one. So, I don't know. We'll just say his name is CD. That would be his real initials, is CD.
CD.
Yeah. And I guess the thing is that in the family, my mother had 5 sisters.
Uh-huh.
And so there were only, for her and her sisters' parents, there were only 2 grandsons out of all the kids that everybody had. So I was the oldest, and then he was next. And he was some years younger than me.
Okay.
But I think his mother felt like there was a rivalry between the two of us, and so she kind of encouraged a lot of the bad things that he did. He was one of these kids. He was one of these kids who was big. You know, he grew up really big. He was a big kid, and he grew up big. He ended up trying out for professional football teams, and he actually did, I think, play in arena football for just a minute or something like that. You know, big, strong kid. And, he always sort of got into trouble before because he was real clumsy. Clumsy in the sense that he didn't have as much of a sense of how strong he was.
Oh.
And so he
didn't know his own strength.
Right, so he could hurt other kids. Plus, he was kind of mean, too, because his mom kind of encouraged him. His mom sort of made him feel like that size and that strength was his ability to physically dominate other people was a good thing. He used to live with my grandmother over on Oakwood in one of those old mansions. Before the neighborhood ran down, they had these beautiful big houses and these tall concrete staircases. And, we used to play, the kids, we used to play around up there. And one day, we went outside, and one of his friends was down at the bottom of not the staircase, but there was like a little porch. He was down at the bottom of this porch. It must have been like a 10-foot drop. And he had pushed this kid off the porch. And I think he broke his arm or something like that.
Ooh.
But he got out of it somehow. He was a little kid, so he didn't go to jail or nothing. But that's what he did. He was a very destructive person. You know those Fisher-Price? You ever seen those Fisher-Price? They're like wooden Fisher-Price toys. And they would be in the Consumer Reports. They say, these are best toys for kids because they're so durable. This kid actually got one of those heads off of those dolls. He was that strong and that destructive. And we didn't see him do it. We just saw him with it afterwards.
Hulk smash.
Yeah, I know. He got it off. So he did stuff like that, and he was really notorious for breaking people's toys.
So even when when he was little, he was really huge. So
Yeah.
like that Baby Huey thing going on. Ooh,
Yeah.
mama, just ready.
Yeah, but you like Baby Huey, because Baby Huey is kind of good at heart, but this kid was not good at heart. So like same concrete steps. One day for my birthday, I don't know, I must have been like 8 or 9 years old. I got one of those toy McDonald's. It had a whole store. You had little figures going in, and it had a McDonald's, and you could put the people in and pretend like you were buying stuff and stuff like that. I had all together the very first day. I remember how sunny it was that day, and I think I had it out there near the top of the steps playing with it. And I went in, and I came out, and he had thrown it down the stairs.
Well,
He had just picked it up and thrown the whole thing down the stairs. Yeah, but I think there was really something wrong with him.
Yeah.
There was the time when we went to we had relatives in Ohio, so one time we went to Kings Island.
Yeah.
And those of us who were older, the cousins, we were old enough so that we didn't have to stay with the adults. So we were going around the park, and then one time we came to this one place where they said they would guess your age, and if they couldn't guess your age within a certain range, you win a prize. So, we were doing it and everything, and we were losing, but then we say, oh, well, let's get because he's so big, he doesn't look his age. And so we took him, and he did it, and he won the little doll. He's like, "Oh man, okay."
Then
well,
later
let's
he
go
ripped
in
its
there.
head off, right?
Well, no, we went to a whole bunch of other ones. You got like 10 of these things, you know, because you could go from place to place. They had them all over the park, and we got a whole bunch of them, and we put them in a bag,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just walking along and talking, and you know, getting ready to go on the rides and everything. And somebody said, "Look what did," and we all looked back, and he was carrying the bag, and he had ripped the heads off of every single one of those toys.
Whoa.
Don't know why he did it. And it wasn't like we were telling him he couldn't have any or anything like that. But after getting them, and he didn't ever say anything. He was just walking behind us, and he was just taking the heads off as we. And I think he's a nightclub bouncer now in Las Vegas.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
That would make sense for his
Yeah.
nature.
But see, his mom still does that to him because his mom, whenever she has some kind of trouble with anybody at home, in Los Angeles, he's in Las Vegas. The mother, whenever she gets in trouble or she has trouble with neighbors or something, she will call him and say, "Come down here." So I'm thinking he's the kind of guy I think would eventually maybe do some real harm to somebody and get himself locked up for something. You know, his mother was saying a couple weeks ago, she came here and she was saying, you know, "Oh yeah, you know, when you ever go to Vegas, maybe you can get together with him." I don't know if I want to get together with him.
Yeah, no.
That'd be scary, yeah.
No.
Yeah, as an adult now, and as big as he is, and as aggressive as he is, I don't know if I want to.
I've heard stories about this before. Have you heard of the Scared Straight program?
Yeah.
Okay, they took a couple of kids to the jail, and let these prisoners just yell at them, just you know, berate them, and tell them that, you know, you act like this, you're gonna come in. Well, anyways, it worked for the majority except two, and one in particular. This kid was kind of disturbing because they asked him, "So did this experience change your mind?" He's like, "No." And on his forearm, he carved "killer" on his forearm. What does that tell you about that particular person to do that kind of harm to himself? So imagine what he might do to someone else. And the look that he had on his face, no, it's just stone cold. Just
That
there's
deadness,
no emotion.
Yeah. I come from a family where there was abuse in the previous generation, like physical abuse, and so it affected all of, you know, my mother and all her sisters in different ways, and it has trickled down through the generations in different ways for different people, and that's the way it trickled down for him. Other people, it was different things. I think my mother was the oldest one, and because she made a conscious decision that she wasn't gonna try not to absorb and pass on the bad things that she's experienced,
Yeah.
it didn't affect me in the same way. But all of her sisters didn't do that. They kind of acted like everything was okay, and it sort of came out in these unexpected ways. So he ended up being real mean, and she was, I guess his mother was probably so afraid that she was going to abuse him. And even though sometimes when she lost her temper, she probably was too rough with him, but she was too lenient with him. She let him get away with too much. And certainly that the kid like that, with his personality, his size and strength, he needed some discipline, and he never got it. But then he's passing this on down to his children because he's just a completely absentee father. Was in their lives for a few years and then just left, you know? And so it's going to the next generation.
That curse followed. The curse is going to continue.
Yeah. And I mean, it's strange how one person in the family does something like that and it just trickles down.
And what your mother did different from your sisters, she broke the cycle.
Yeah, just by acknowledging it, just by saying it. I don't know if CD is ever gonna say, you know, this is what happened in my family. This is where my mother was. I don't want to be the same. I need to, hopefully, before he kills somebody.
Yeah,
which he might do. He might do.
I don't know why I'm laughing at this. I don't know. This is nothing. It's not appropriate to laugh at.
So the other members of the family are just real dishonest. Everybody handled it a different way. Everybody handled that trauma a different way.
Dealing with a destructive family member like that, I feel that I should disown them and not just cut them off from my life. I know that sounds bad, but the phrase "family sticks together no matter what" to me is just asinine. It it's trying to guilt me into keeping this person by my side just because they're related to me biologically. To me, it's a bunch of crap. To me, like, I know I have to stop. This person is ruining my life. They're just poison. They create their own hell on earth. So my question to you is, what do you do with a family member like your cousin who just you feel like cannot be helped?
Well, I think you're right. Because people are family, we kind of hang on to them in a way that we wouldn't hang on to a person who treated us that way if they were in any other circumstance. And you do have to be willing to, even if a person is family, sometimes in extreme circumstances, you got to kind of cut them off.
So I guess the lesson here is just to, even though he is family, you have to cut him off and keep your distance from, keep him from poisoning you.
That's an extreme example. I'm not afraid of him poisoning me. I'm afraid of him murdering me. That's really what I'm afraid of.
Are you serious, or are you just saying that as a joke?
No, I'm serious. This is a bad guy. When I say that he has done things that should have landed him in prison, I mean that. And when I say that one day he probably will be in prison, I mean that. That's probably the case. It's probably going to happen.